Welcome, my dear students of class 9A and 9B to my history class. The same lesson I am going to analyze, and today is the last day of teaching of this very lesson. All the points I have already clarified thoroughly one after one. Some few major points I am going to re-explain. The Mauryan Empire. First point, the Chandragupta Maurya, the founder ruler of the Mauryan dynasty. Chandragupta Maurya was a young ruler, a young person who had no chance to be a ruler, but he was an optimistic ruler. He was an optimistic person. From the very beginning, he was able to show his talents and skills. It was Chanakya who first came to know about his skills, his talents, his qualities, and he found him to be the next ruler of a new dynasty. Chanakya felt insulted at the court of Dhanananda because he was also courtier of Dhanananda. Dhanananda insulted him. Because of that very insult which he had to digest, he took an oath that he would take a revenge of that very insult, and he would shift Dhanananda from power and make another one to be the ruler of a new dynasty. Meanwhile, he met a young person named Chandragupta. Chandragupta's technique of speaking, Chandragupta's personality, Chandragupta's presence of mind, Chandragupta's intelligence attracted him a lot. That's why he offered Chandragupta to declare war against Dhanananda. And not only he assured Chandragupta that he would give him good advices, and he would be able to defeat Dhanananda. But at the same time, he motivated Chandragupta from time to time. So, the motivation of Chanakya Kautilya encouraged a young person to get himself involved in politics. As a result, he declared war against Dhanananda. But Dhanananda was defeated because of the bold leadership of Chandragupta Maurya, because of the techniques and strategy of Chanakya Kautilya, his diplomacy, his diplomatic style, technique and method, and bold leadership of Chandragupta helped to defeat Dhanananda. So by defeating the last ruler of the Nanda dynasty, Dhanananda, Chandragupta established a new dynasty named the Mauryan dynasty. He introduced a good system of administration and helped a lot, brought remarkable changes in the system of administration. As a result, the remarkable development came in the field of society, in the society, in good governance. Everywhere there came a remarkable development under the leadership and under the kingship of Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya's rule became successful only because of Kautilya or Chanakya. Chanakya Kautilya, in his famous book Arthashastra, wrote the detailed descriptions about the rule of Chandragupta Maurya. That Chandragupta Maurya was a great success, a great ruler of the Mauryan dynasty. He narrated it with many and copious examples, and his administrative skills, his policy, technique of policy making also attracted Chanakya a lot, and his presence of mind, which helped him to be a popular ruler of the country, also attracted Chanakya, and the people of his country also had great faith on Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya's rule, that's why, became a famous rule in the history of India. Everywhere, especially in the field of trade and commerce, in the field of agriculture, in the field of revenue collecting, the people who started working under Chandragupta, they all gave their best efforts, dedicated their lives by providing their best services. As a result, uh, financially, during the rule of Chandragupta, the entire empire became financially very strong, financially, strategically, politically, culturally, a very one of the best, empire under the Mauryans, under the leadership of Chandragupta Maurya, brought a strong example in the history of India to be one of the most powerful empire of ancient India. And later on, Bindusara came to power. Bindusara followed the same technique and method of his father. His father already had established a strong dynasty, extended his empire towards different parts of India, and what Bindusara had done was extension of his empire towards southern part of India, towards South India. So he need not have to extend his empire more and more, because already his father had extended his empire towards different parts of India. So only one part of India where Chandragupta Maurya could not extend his empire, that was South India. So as an important strategist, Bindusara felt that extension of his boundary towards South India was very important. That's why he extended his empire towards South India. After his death, the war of succession started between the sons of Chandragupta, sons of Bindusara, but Ashoka came to power, according to some historians, by killing other brothers or by mixing poison in their food, by making them incapable of shouldering political responsibilities of the country. Ashoka came to power. But what was right and what was wrong, it is depending on the informations of the historians. But something was wrong, something was right. But what thing was right was Ashoka became one of the greatest rulers of India the country has ever produced. Ashoka's technique, Ashoka's strategy, Ashoka's method, Ashoka's skills, Ashoka's administrative talent gave him the highest distinction of our country, one of the greatest ruler of ancient India, Emperor Ashoka. Emperor Ashoka declared war against Kalinga. Why? Because Kalinga was a country, Kalinga was a place full of fertile lands and huge amount of taxes and revenues were collected from the people. Only because of that reason, Ashoka had great interest for Kalinga. The other rulers of Ashoka, they had also the same interest for Kalinga, but they could not achieve success. Why? Because they could not achieve success means they never make any attempt. They never make any attempt attacking Kalinga. Why? Because they remain busy in that particular areas or territories after which they had established their rule. They remain happy with it. But Ashoka's optimistic, attitude, Ashoka's overconfidence forced him to declare war against Kalinga, and ultimately Kalinga was invaded by Ashoka. There was a war between Kalinga and Ashoka's empire Mauryans. But Ashoka was able to defeat Kalinga at the cost of uh, millions of death of people and huge bloodshed. Ashoka, as an aggressive ruler, as a violent ruler, became successful in establishing his rule on Kalinga. But the technique and method, whatever he adapted, Ashoka felt that it was not the right process. That's why he gave up declaring war, fighting war. He gave up violence and adopted the policy of non-violence, adopted the policy of brotherhood, adopted the technique and method of religious growth and development. That's why Ashoka constructed a number of stupas and viharas, because Ashoka was influenced by the preachings and teachings of Buddhism. Lord Buddha's preachings and teachings attracted Ashoka a lot. Ashoka felt that religious growth and development should be more important than political growth and development, because he gave priority to the religion first and then to political matters. Ashoka was out and out influenced by the religious preachings and teachings of Buddhism. On being influenced by the concept of Buddhism, Ashoka constructed, as I mentioned you earlier, many viharas, many stupas. These stupas and viharas were used in order to teach Ashoka's preachings and teachings, and hence Ashoka, found out other ideas, other techniques, other methods of his own, and that techniques of preachings and teachings of his own was known as Ashoka's Dhamma. Ashoka made an arrangement of constructing a number of edicts. Edicts were constructed in order to convey the message that Ashoka was a non-violent ruler, a tolerant ruler, and dedicated his life for the welfare of religion, for the welfare of countrymen. So these all were, engraved on the surface of the world, and this surface of the wall and the technique of writing or engraving the preachings and teachings of Lord Buddha's Buddhism and Ashoka's Dhamma uh, are known as Ashokan edicts. So many Ashokan edicts were found out, and these Ashokan edicts symbolize that Ashoka symbolized that Ashoka's rule, Ashoka's rule, Ashoka's technique, religious policy gave him out and out a ruler of the country. And that Ashoka had become a very important ruler, a very famous ruler of ancient India, was correct, was true, because there was no controversy. No controversy was there behind that distinction Ashoka obtained, one of the best rulers of ancient India, only because of his technique, because of his method, because of his policy, because of his determination, because of his great personality. Ashoka, was able to be one of the greatest rulers of ancient India, a successful ruler of ancient India. And influence of religions, as I mentioned earlier, that Ashoka was influenced by religion. The religious practices of Lord Buddha, Lord Buddha's contributions in his social life. Lord Buddha belonged to a royal family. In spite of being a person of a royal family, he left all happiness, richness, and accepted a life of severe penance, which attracted Ashoka a lot, since Ashoka belonged to a royal family. And the technique and method and the achievements of Lord Buddha also attracted Ashoka a lot. That's why Ashoka was influenced by the ideals of Buddhism. And Ashoka also, embraced teachings and teachings of Buddhism by spending money. And at the same time, Ashoka was influenced by Buddhism and found out his own Dhamma, own technique and methods of teachings. He added many points. These all points were taken from Lord Buddha's Buddhism. But Ashoka was influenced from that. That's why he also added some extra points, some additional points with it, in order to attract the people, in order to improve the growth and development of religion during that period. And as a result, Ashoka's Dhamma also became very much acceptable to the people. Ashoka, one thing Ashoka had done, that was introduction of a new language, Prakrit, because common people were not attracted towards religious improvement only because of the question of language. Because language had become a great factor. Many people showed no interest towards religion. But Ashoka realized it. That's why he introduced Prakrit language. And then many people had become the followers of Lord Buddha's Buddhism. They had become the followers of Ashoka's Dhamma. That's why during the rule of Ashoka, religious growth and development had become a great factor. People became very much happy. People became very much, prosperous, rich, wealthy, and Ashoka was able not only to collect revenues, to collect taxes peacefully, but also he was able to spend it for the welfare of the people, for the welfare of agriculture, for the welfare of education, for the welfare of health. And that's why the reign of Ashoka had become the reign of Ashoka had become a great reign, a very successful reign during the rule of the Maurya Satrapas. So the next day I shall introduce a new lesson. All of you must go through this lesson. If you have any doubt, any problem, ask me question during my online live classes. Thank you.